welcome to the Cosmic Channeling. We're going to be covering the event.
The event? We're doing a couple different things right now. I think, what do we have? Instagram, right?
We got Instagram live on Foxshore.
Yeah.
You and then...
Okay. I'm just waiting for everyone to get on here. Hi, guys. I see all my favorite people. It's kind of late. I'm a little tired right now. But I wanted to get on. I've actually been feeling pulled by spirit lately to come on and talk more publicly with you guys, because I've kind of been hiding a little bit because I'm going through a lot of sensitivities of my own in regards to all the shifting and rebalancing that we have at this time, cosmically and collectively, interconnectedly. So I've just been getting the nudges to come back and continue to connect. So I've been posting a bit the past couple days because I feel like I'm supposed to share some insight that I'm getting lately about the energies, and that I could maybe perhaps hopefully help some people understand what's going on. For any of the believers or non-believers, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel it anyway. So then just take what I'm saying with either a great deal of conviction, and if it resonates with you, understanding that it's hopefully only helping, information to help you glide through the next couple weeks and months and years with more grace and ease, because we can make this process either really difficult on a personal level and a collective level, or we can make this process much more easy to deal with and fun and creative. So I guess what we want to start off with is asking ourselves, what is it that we want to create? Because that's what it all comes down to now, is what is it that you want to create? Because guess what? We're all becoming quite conscious now of our abilities to create and just how interconnected our thoughts are with our reality. And I bet a lot of people can understand just how powerful intentions are. And even when you're not intending to intend, you're doing something, right? Because you start to see signs and synchronicities of your own thoughts showing up in your world on a regular basis, and then you're like, oh crap, I have to be careful with my thoughts, because if I don't, something negative might happen that's not so pleasant. So we're becoming, first of all, more conscious right now, and that's what this is all about, is consciousness. And when we talk about dimensions, and like third dimension, second dimension, first dimension, they exist as well. Or 5D. A lot of us have been hearing this 5D resonance lately, and it's becoming part of our regular lingo, whether we realize it or not, or want it to or not. It's becoming circulated quite often, and it's becoming part of our reality. So our reality, which was always 3D, 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 is now all of a sudden becoming 5D, 5D, 5D. So something's happening, whether we realize it or not. And once you take a moment to let it dawn on you, you begin to see that it could be the event that we've all been waiting for, right? So when we talk about ascension, and there's this kind of black or white, many people aren't really in the middle. I know some neutral people, and that's probably the best place to be with all of this. But some people really understand ascension as something positive, and they understand it as something that is happening on a collective scale to enlighten and better the world around us, right? Others think that it's nonsense and that we all have to stay within our minds about everything that has to do with reality, because it's what we can see and what we can touch, right? So abstract concepts are not really part of their reality then. And so it's not something that's quite valid. And wherever you stand on it, it's okay, because you're going to experience it anyway. So let me explain what perception quantum shifting is. So all of the dimensions have a certain frequency, and well, I want to say right now because it's not really right now anymore, but we've all grown up or become familiar with to this point of the concept of third dimension. And that's what we call the physical reality, the energy that's resonating at a certain frequency that is able to be touched physically and seen physically. That is our third dimensional frequency vibration. And then what a lot of people don't realize or understand is that all of the dimensions are existing at once, regardless of what dimension we're currently resonating at with our own perception. Our own perception, not the collective perception. Our own perception is really what this is all about. Is what level is your own perception at right now? Is it just kind of focused on the physical and not allowing your mind to expand to the possibilities of something that might not be physical, something that supersedes the frequency in terms of rate at which it is vibrating, faster rate of vibration, which is lighter than the densities of 3 or 2 or 1D. So all we're talking about is speed of frequency of light. So, and the perception that many of us have are at that third dimensional frequency of perception of light. And then when we start to drop weight or density within our own auric being, within our own soul, in our own energy field, there are certain energies that are contained and maintained until we address them that are of like a collective absorption. That's what I was looking for, absorption. When we are just existing in everyday life, we're absorbing energy. And if we're not careful with our own energy or aware of our own surroundings, then we fail to maintain the clarity of our own energy. And so if we're not mindful, we can collect a lot of energy baggage. And if we're not conscious, that baggage can get deeper and deeper and deeper the more that we push it down and don't address it, fail to realize that it's important. It will weigh us down deeper and deeper and deeper until we're all experiencing something like a third dimensional depression. The energies of hopelessness, the energies of sluggishness, non-inspiration, all of these things when you become out of touch with your own soul, your own frequencies and consciousness of the fact that you are infinite and all-powerful and all everything. But once you start to heal or start to address or consciously drop that density through your own experiences of death and rebirth, for example. And we all know what that feels like. I don't need to take time to explain that. So all the healing cycles and all the healing crises that you can go through are doing nothing but helping you to lighten your baggage and your own energy and your own soul vibration. And so when you can start dropping enough density to a point where your own energy field becomes higher than the third dimension that you're currently always resonating at, then you begin to resonate at something like 4D and 5D beyond that. And as you continue to evolve down your own spiral of healing and releasing and letting go and conscious evolution, you begin to see, feel, and become aware of other lighter, we'll say, lighter realms of also realities and dimensions. And so when we talk about perceptual shifts, like from 3D to 4D to 5D, it's not at all that we're saying that the 2D, the 1, the 2, the 3D don't exist anymore. It's not about that at all. It's about becoming aware of the fact that they're always there, something that's intricate and part of what's needed for all of existence. The weight is needed to maintain and ground the lightness. So all of it's important. We're not denying those denser dimensions. We're saying they're still there. But what I'm focusing on and where my resonance is on these higher realms of frequency. Is I'm choosing or I'm evolving into something beyond 3D, 4D, 5D, but they're still there. They're all still there. And so at any time, because you've been there, done that, for example, you are able, if you're in the 4 and 5D, as you're lightening your load and lightening your natural energy in a very natural process. So you can at any moment, whether you're in 5 or 12D, for example, shift back down into perception of 3D, because you'll always be able to remember what that felt like. You'll always have some sort of reference point. But guess what? When you're moving into 4 and 5D, you don't get stuck at those reference points of 3D, of the densities. You're able to move through it faster because you understand flow, which is what 4D is. And basically everything happens for a reason, is how I like to put it in so many words. When you're going into 5D then, which is where we're headed after the 4D bridge, you're headed into a full conscious awareness of complete oneness. And because of that awareness of oneness, you begin to understand how all of it's important. All of it, light and dark, for example, light and dark, is needed for balance. And so you can do nothing but love. When you understand the necessity of all of it, and you understand the importance of why the journey had to go that way, why the 2, the 3D, the 4D had to happen, that's when all-inclusive love comes in. And that becomes your reality, because you understand. There's no more question as to the perfection of all of it. So that's what I mean when we talk about frequency shifts and dimensions and things like that. It's all at once, all the time, all of it. The good, the bad, the awareness, the lack of awareness. It's all part of it for a reason. So it's never about doing away with something. It's about honoring it all. So now let's talk about this event. When did I start hearing about this? I think pretty recently, yeah. I'm not, even though I'm definitely a naturally born conspiracy theorist, I'm not the type of person to go researching unless I have an answer or a question, to research.
Right.
But I'm not the type of person that's spending my time, I don't have time to do that anyway, spending my time researching all of these things going on in realms of metaphysics and the paranormal and all of these conspiracy theories. I think it's all possible, actually. But recently, my friends Rachel and Fox, who are the researchers of my group here, this group that we are.
Yeah, we take care of that.
And,
for you.
right. They've been reporting some stuff to me recently saying that there's this event coming. There's an event coming. It's just ambiguously named the event.
Right. And some call it Ascension, some call it the Galactic Superwave. There's a bunch of names for it, but the research I've been doing is Allison Coe. She's a hypnotherapist, and all of her recent findings with several different clients, they're all reporting, when they go into their past life and they go into their higher self guidance mode, they're all talking about this coming event, and, there's not a direct date on it, but the idea is that this is coming very soon, as early as 3 to 6 months from now, I guess, and so we just want to know more about it. There's a lot of reports of these clients, and they have similar stories. We'd like to investigate that.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my psychic intake for this part, and I'm going to take some questions and answer. Then I will answer the questions. We have Matt. I want to say hi. Hold on.
Yo, yo.
Matt.
Show him your drawing real quick.
What are you doing here, babe?
Just working on a
awesome. Nice
owl.
owl.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I'm gonna make the wings go into you know, the cosmos, so it's gonna like dissolve into the stars, and
It's so epic.
I
That's
don't
gonna
really
be
know
great.
exactly what else I'm gonna do with it, but
Nice.
yeah.
It's looking great. Looking great.
So many people can't wait to see that and know.
Heck yeah.
And then we have Eric Fox.
Howdy. I'll be sort of the questioner. We're all going to be asking questions, but and also if you get questions on there, let me know.
So I'm probably not going to be paying attention to the live feed
Gotcha.
during,
I can
Okay.
watch
but Rachel could. And if there's any questions, feel
Yeah.
free to ask away, guys, in the digital audience.
I'll take your questions.
This is Rachel, and Rachel, you can also be asking questions.
Will do.
All right, so the point of all of this is to get the optimum amount of information from the cosmos, me directed to my higher self, because that's all I need is myself and my higher self connection, to tap into collective consciousness and awareness. So when we are talking about collective consciousness, that's kind of what I want to open up with, is understanding the event that we're talking about, because this was something that when Rachel and Fox started to ask me questions a couple days ago, I think, about if I could psychically look into it for them, I looked and I saw that, and that's where I'll start, is right now, with what I saw a little bit ago, and then I will just continue on from what I saw a couple days ago right into current day questions and current now moment questions. So what we did see about 3 days ago when I looked was that this event is something that is basically just a massive collective, I don't want to say psyop, because it's not a psyop, it's a psy-co-op. That's a great way to put it. It's a psy-co-op. Psychological cooperation is what it is. And when you begin to understand that when we talk about dimensions, that time and space are just constructs of the third dimension, and when you start to raise your awareness to dimensions of 4 or 5D and understanding the limitlessness of all it is, of infinity, that time and the concept of space are nothing but third dimensional constructs that actually are only relevant in the 3D. So when you're beginning to understand realms of 4 or 5D, you begin to understand that we could be somewhere in terms of directional space-time. We could be somewhere in what we on 3D would call the future. We could be somewhere what we in 3D would call the now, and what we in 3D would call the past, all at the same time. And that's where this gets interesting, because what I was shown 3 days ago was that this event was basically just a big, huge blip that all of us did from the future into the conceptual now moment of this time and this place and space in collective conscious evolution of humanity. So there's been a couple different attempts of this lotus of consciousness evolving, that it's always been trying to reach full bloom. It's always been trying to reach new life in a process of evolutionary cycles, of basically trial and error of cosmic intelligence, trying out its own programs that it's been writing for itself to learn from its own self. Isn't that what we're all doing anyway, right? So that is basically what this is that it is our collective future selves speaking to our now moment selves, which as we're speeding up in frequency, which the Schumann, is that what you call it? The Schumann resonance?
Schumann resonance has been shooting up
of
very extremely.
Of the Earth, which is what, Fox? Tell us what the Schumann resonance is.
The Schumann resonance is like, they call it the heartbeat of the Earth. It's the resonance at which the Earth vibrates. And it used to be around 7 to 8 hertz, and it's been jumping up over 40 hertz. So we're seeing a massive jump.
So
and
what
it's
happens when that happens?
Well, they think it's directly tied in with consciousness. So as this frequency increases of the Earth, so does consciousness upon the planet.
That's a great way to stop, because it is connected to mass consciousness, because they've done what did they call record? Not is it reports, or they've done graphs of. I guess it's always being monitored, right? It's always being monitored like 24/7 with digital and scientific
There's
tools.
several like magnometers around the world, and the name of the website is Heart Math Institute.
Heart Math Institute.
Yeah, they're the ones that keep track of the Schumann resonance. Yeah.
So when things, and depending on what side of the conspiracy theory coin you're on, like catastrophes, like global catastrophes, or something that's on a mass scale, like natural disasters, or something like 9/11, for example, when it's like a widespread awareness of some sort of event on like a global level, they've measured the Schumann resonance, and they've seen spikes during the time of these events, because basically all of the collective focus is heightened in on one traumatic or climatic event. And so then you begin to understand, when you're measuring these frequencies with tools, that the energy of the collective whole is in an aspect of creation together, because there are natural equivalent, like not disasters, but I'm not looking the right word.
Miracles?
No.
Surprises.
No. Surprises, maybe. But there's co-creative things that are kind of experienced after these events spike. I keep wanting to call them disasters. Maybe it spikes a disaster. It's like it won't let me get out of the word disaster. So events happen after the collective Schumann resonance spikes. So we're in an active co-creative form, and it can be measured whether you believe it spiritually or just want to look at it scientifically. So when mass consciousness is able to be registered on certain devices, we can witness that. And then we can begin to trust that this is a real frequency, a measurable frequency, something that is concrete, so to speak, of what's actually happening here, is that thoughts are creating something, or doing something, affecting something. And so when I looked at the aspect of this event, so to speak, I was shown by my guides that, or myself, which is all the same thing anyway, I was shown that Y2K is basically the first time that this has been, I think, recorded in our collective experience of memory to have happened once before. And now this is a theory, so to speak, until we actually all experience this event that's going to be experienced, to prove this insight here, is that when we all had, if everybody remembers back at Y2K, there was this rumor that was going around on a collective level that the computers at that time of day of age, they didn't have something that was really compatible with like going into the year 2000s. I can't remember exactly how that played out.
Where it wouldn't flip over.
So something wouldn't flip over and then the world was shut down or something, right? Because all of the computers had taken over. Yeah, and nothing would compute. So us being a society that has been overrun and overtaken by computers, we all freaked out on a collective level when all of that rumors started to get started. How many months was that thing running before it actually happened?
I'd probably say a good 6 months.
I was thinking 6 months of this rumor spreading. So it was like this collective thought form of fear, this collective massive wave of negative energy projected towards one point in time, regardless of what, or actually dependent on what time zone you were in at the time, that the year 1999 would flip over to the year 2000 midnight. So midnight, which is relative to wherever you're at on space-time, around the world. Midnight, that relative point of midnight of December 31st, 1999, switching over to 12 a.m., January 1st, 2000, there was a collective thought focus on that relative time of midnight, of negativity, of, oh my God, it's the end, or what is going to happen, and everybody thinking it's Armageddon or something of the sorts. And so we killed our planet with that act of collective thought being projected onto one relative space and time. 12 a.m., January 1st, year 2000, is the year that we all died. And that's the year that we collectively bilocated to another sister planet that was what we thought was Earth. We all think we're still on the same planet. But there was divine intervention that happened at that time, that we also, just like energy never dies, once it's created, it's either going to evolve from one form to the next, but it's never going to go away. So at that time, all of our consciousness collectively traveled over to a different timeline, because we had killed that timeline with our fear. And so we basically kept going. We woke up the next day. In our reality at that moment, we experienced that nothing happened, and that we all made it through and lived that story that we thought was going to end the world. And life went on as usual, but on a different timeline, where we could continue to evolve in our own consciousness to become more and more aware of our own creative abilities with our collective frequencies. And so what this event is, I was shown 3 days ago, is the opposite. It's our redemption, basically, to all focus in on a relative point, once again, all together, with positivity, with awareness of how powerful our own thoughts are. And how do we wish to use that power? We've all been doing manifestation circles and cycles for how many years now together? Or if you haven't been actively experiencing that yet, at least it's becoming brought to your attention of all the manifestation possibilities. So why do you think we've been learning all about that? Why do you think that's something that we've been feeling pressed to do? Why do you think The Secret was introduced? Why do you think what we call the law of attraction has even been a circulated concept to either oppose or approve of? To either reject or get on board with. Regardless of whether you believe it or not, it's still there, it's still part of your reality, even if it's something you're just resisting, right? So it's there. Why do you think it's there? So just ask yourself, what would you do if you could create your own reality? That's why there's been going all of these crazy healing cycles and these eclipses happening. These crazy, why do you think it went over top of America last year? It went over top of America because we have to get shit straight. There's a lot coming up in this country for massive healing. It's where a lot of the shadow is in this country. A lot of the shadow is here. And so we had some crazy cosmic portals open up over top of us on a regular basis the past year in order to start getting all of that stuff shook up that needs to be shook up and exposed to the light. The frequencies that will burn it up. Illuminate it so it can be seen with consciousness and eventually compassion and awareness and love. So the darkness is being exposed, whether we like it or not. Our darkness, other people's darkness, the collective darkness. It's all coming up. You can see it in the news with all these crazy off-the-wall stories running in politics lately. Oh, it's out there and it's noticeable. So you can choose to try to deny it, but that'll just get harder for you to try to suppress your own darkness or the everybody else's darkness. That's not a place you're going to last long. And then it'll just get real uncomfortable till you face it. So it's 11:44. Happy 11:44, guys. All right, so what this event is there's not going to be a time that's able to be predicted precisely on when it's going to happen, because it all depends on how many people get on board to hit that mass level of collective, it's flipping into reality, that breaking spark point, that once it ignites, the whole thing ignites. So that's what the event is. It's basically our redemption for Y2K when we killed ourselves. And so this is all going to be something that is basically hypothetical, not something that is able to be proven. You're not going to be able to prove this prediction until it actually happens, which I'm fine with putting myself out there in this fashion to be right or wrong about this, that at some point within the next 3 months, all of us will be on board with this thought in one way or another, but the prevailing thought form will be positive of it. We will all be emitting a frequency of expectation, of love, into some, what we call the event point, the event horizon. The event on the horizon. So we're basically all going to be putting our thoughts into a collective point on the horizon called the event. And it's going to happen by the end of June. And it's from April 1st into the end of June of when that potential window could happen. So we could make it happen April 1st, or we could make it happen June 30th, right? That would be the last day of June. So anywhere in between there. And when it happens, it's going to be undeniable. It's going to be something that noticeably feels like love for those of us that are resonating at a frequency within our own selves of the vibrations of fifth dimensional love and peace and acceptance. We will experience that event horizon, that point of collective consciousness, collaboration, cooperation, as extreme frequencies of love and bliss. And it's going to feel very much like a rapture. It's going to feel like heaven on earth. And so from now, start meditating on at least the fifth dimensional frequencies of love and peace and joy and acceptance. All of these concepts and theories that you're either experiencing now or have yet to experience is what we're going for, is the concept of happiness and peace and joy. So that's what you all would be best to start sending to that point of event horizon, this collective thought point that we're co-collaborating on together to create heaven on earth. Because we are shifting, we are gaining awareness of our own power, and now it's time to start utilizing it. And so that is how we are going to really, I'm not lying, it's not going to be something that you're able to deny anymore as if there is some sort of difference in the world around you than was for your whole entire life that you remember so far. It's going to be people getting more connected, people getting more social, people getting more trusting, more loving, more oneness. All of that is going to be a very, very real experience that all of us will be able to tangibly touch. Okay? This isn't just theories anymore. You're going to have a prevailing collective unity after this event horizon. It's not just wishes. And so when this event happens, it's basically just all of our beautiful collective thoughts coming back at us at an exponential rate, a wave of consciousness, of our own consciousness, created to come back at us through the sun, is basically where it's coming, is through the sun. And it's our mirrored reflections of our thoughts, our beautiful frequencies, like the universe promises to do, is magnetize us everything back to what we send out. So we start now. We start consciously sending out beautiful waves of peace, beautiful waves of love, beautiful waves of unity, beautiful waves of healing, beautiful waves of compassion. All of these things we start sending into some projected, weird 12 o'clock midnight, which is called the event, equal to 12 o'clock midnight on January 1st, 2000. So that was our ambiguous midnight back then to project onto. Now we have an ambiguous event to project onto, to create the opposite effect of what killed our timeline last time. We're going to save ourselves this time.
That's good stuff.
So if you're not resonating on a personal frequency level of 5D at the time that that event hits, you will maybe experience some uncomfortable vibrations within your body. I'm not seeing that anybody will die from this. And that if they experience some discomfort, if their own frequencies are not matching the frequencies of the incoming wave, then they will do something with their own energy that assimilates it, but it will be a little bit of a longer wait for them to be experiencing the peace of it. It will be like an adjustment period for your own bodies, your own physical bodies, your own mental capacities. I don't want to say anybody's going to go insane. I'm just going to say it might feel like it would be like a fogginess or like a haze or some confusion in your mind. And your physical body might experience some discomfort. I feel as if it would be some pressure within your body. You experience some pressure where it feels like it would be in your chest and in your stomach and in your head too. So you're going to feel it, and it's going to positively affect you regardless of how you feel it. If you're resonating at that 5D frequency, closer to 5D as possible, you're going to be blissfully delighted. Maybe orgasmic. I don't know. So it depends on how good you want it to be. How good do you want that cosmic sex to be? So just think of that, like the best orgasm on that day. Okay, I'm open for questions.
That was great. That was fantastic.
Okay, are you going? Fox.
The fact that, well, one thing I wanted to start on was, back in 2000 when we switched over, the fact that we shifted to another timeline, does that mean that we were like, is that like one of the reasons for the Mandela effect?
Well, what is the Mandela effect? And what do you mean by that?
Collective memories, like by a bunch of people, are different than what is in reality.
Collective misconceptions or something?
Yeah. Like, they say it's like
timeline shifts.
Like, for example,
misremembering.
what color is Darth Vader's nose? I always thought it was black.
I thought he was all black. Apparently now he's got
it's
silver nose.
Silver nose.
Silver nose.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. And the one that really got me, I had C-3PO. He's got a silver leg now, which I was a Star Wars fan. And then just recently, now he's got like a little antenna on top of his head.
He has an antenna?
Yeah,
Nuh-uh.
he's got a little bolt antenna on his head.
You're
and
kidding.
He for sure never had that.
Are you serious?
So, I don't remember him having that. But in this reality, no matter if you go get a VHS tape from your garage, that you've had since the beginning, it will be like that. He will still have the bolt in his it won't be how you remember it. So check that out.
So basically, Mandela effect is like evidence of a timeline shift, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I suppose.
When something that we all remembered as one way is apparently now shifted into a different way of accepted collective reality.
Correct.
And it can be proven through different proofs.
Just by like the sheer number of people that it involves.
Right.
It's not just one person misremembering something. It's like
So question regarding, what was your original question here?
Well, when we originally had that timeline shift and we killed the old Earth, like we killed Earth A and we moved to Earth B.
Right.
Would that be evidence of Mandela?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said that like it's kind of like a collective decision when this event occurs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I would imagine that awareness is the best thing. You know, spread awareness of this
Right.
possibility. And then I was going to ask you, how do we increase the possibility for it to happen sooner? How do we increase, like, is there a way for us to do that? Or is it, I know it's on a collective
That's a
level.
beautiful question. And yes, the way to experience the soonest that we all possibly could
Right.
would be to all focus on tomorrow. Focus on the now moment. Actually, yeah, I'm being corrected. The now moment.
Right now.
Focus on the now moment as intensely as you possibly can, with all of your own peace, your own joy, your own dreams, your own happiness, even if it's not something that you feel that you can confirm in your own reality at the time as fully blissed out in your own experience of what you have and or your current circumstances. The more that you can focus on the now moment with your greatest love and acceptance and joy and being at peace with all that is will be the fastest way to actuate this before June 30th. So
Okay.
it could be, I'm seeing that the earliest it could happen would be April 1st. And then the latest that it will happen. And there's been some people, you said, that have predicted it in March, right?
Right.
I'm being shown that that timeline has been, now it's been pushed off because not enough people have known about it yet to
Right.
create it.
So that would back up the idea of spreading awareness.
So
too.
it's backed up now to after April 1st.
Okay.
April 1st or forward between April 1st and June 30th
Well,
will
April
now.
1st is Easter,
Right.
resurrection.
All right. That's,
So
Would be a perfect day for it.
okay.
there will be also, I'm being shown there will be light emissions in the sky around the sun that
yeah.
are going to be evidence of this happening in the sky. And I am getting a very strong sense that the collective spiritual energies of the whole entire earth at that time in the day or wherever, it will be experienced during a clear sky or at least not cloudy, so that if there's clouds in the sky, it's like also being part of the display.
Okay.
It's not something that's going to be withheld through gray clouds covering this. Okay. So when it happens, we will all be able to take notice of the lights in the sky.
Okay.
I'm asking if it's going to be. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's interesting. So it will either be a clear night where you are at or a clear day where you are at, depending on what part of the world you're in. And both displays are going to be equally as beautiful, like different rainbow light clouds, different types of, it's almost like the aurora borealis, a little bit.
But everywhere across the globe?
It will be noticeable in your sky, wherever
Okay.
you're at any given time.
Is this preceding the event or during the event?
During the event.
Okay.
How long does it last? The wave.
I'm hearing as long as you want it to.
So it's all subjective to whoever needs it,
Right.
whatever your level is.
Right.
Okay.
Are you reading questions online
We've
too?
got questions.
All right.
Real quick,
I-
Keep going, Fox.
well, before we get into like what the event actually looks like, I mean, you said a little bit now. Is there anything else preceding the event besides the light emissions that you were saying in the sky? Is there anything else preceding it?
Something about hot air balloons. Hot air balloons. Look for the images of hot air balloons or something. All I'm being shown is hot air balloons. Like floating in a sunset. So whatever that means,
Okay.
just
All right.
maybe it's something that makes sense on a collective level
Interesting.
when that time comes.
Okay. All right, and then maybe if we like what does the event look like as it's like happening, like on a personal, ground view level? What would it look like if someone's standing there?
Right. I'm seeing. I think I said that already.
I know. I just wanted more
Just
more descriptions.
No, just I'm seeing it's like these aurora borealis type clouds.
Okay.
Of it, that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
Is
So it's all the way up in the sky,
yeah.
coming down. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like wave emissions of light, different color light. It's going to be a beautiful light display.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll be assisted with clouds, making it look beautiful. Other times it will be by itself in just light in a blue sky or a clear night.
Okay.
You want to ask one here?
Yeah.
Let's see, Michael, Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. He says there's talk of the planets Neptune and Uranus having recently undergone pole shifts. Venus is apparently 10 minutes off of its orbit in where it's supposed to be in the sky. Supposedly this is due to the gravitational pull of massive planet Nibiru and such.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Yeah, exactly what he said. Before you said the word Nibiru, I was seeing Nibiru. Yes, this is true. They're actually like really close to us right now. Nibiru is I'm seeing it's like a spaceship of sorts that is so massive that it's like the size of a planet. And it looks like a drone of sorts, like a huge, massive military drone or something, but like planet size. Death Star, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it has like some aerodynamic effects to it as well.
Well, I think they call it a winged disc.
Yeah, the winged disc. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, it has wings. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's known as the winged disc.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
called the winged disc.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing. So, okay, so it's like literally, I'm actually hearing it pulling up beside our planet Earth. Oh, wow. Okay, so, and interestingly enough, there is like a projected, where it's like the sky has been looking fake lately. The sky
It's
has
been
been looking
LED.
weird colors, like LEDs I'm seeing, because there is like a projected field that is preventing us from seeing it.
Really?
It's like, it's
That would
not,
make sense.
it's a holographic field that is preventing us from being able to see this big, huge freaking thing
That makes
parked
Oh,
right
wow.
beside Earth.
Okay. All right.
So they're being hidden right now from us. But yeah, they're close beside us, and I'm hearing it as like I'm hearing their ship slowing down, like vroom. Like that's how they are right now. It's
Yeah.
like
Right around Earth.
right beside us. Yeah, they're parked. So hold on, I'm asking, what the heck does this mean? Interestingly, I'm seeing that this is actually something that is positive. Huh. Because it's actually like a unification of species that needed to come together. Interesting. Isn't the prevailing thought that Nibiru is negative?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think, you know what? I think that could be a lot of disinformation. Make
Well,
it something that we're supposed to fear, put that out into the consciousness when really it's something that we should be
I'm
welcome.
seeing that it's something that needs to happen for the restoration of this planet.
Okay.
Is that there's like ambassadors on there of sorts. That's why it's been projected as bad, because it has the best stuff for us on there. The ones that are here to help us shift our collective consciousness is because with everything, if something is actually what's going to save us, isn't it actually demonized first, right?
All the time.
So that
Every
we
time. Yep.
resist it, so that our own salvation is separated from us.
Yep.
So Nibiru has been collectively planted as something negative under an agenda, because they're actually really good. And yes, they are right beside us. And yes, it's something that needs to happen for the collective quantum jump. And as soon as the elite continue to fall, that force field will be released. You want to look for timelines on this. Is May into June for this to be more unified. Nibiru. So I guess what we'll be experiencing on a collective level is more and more talk about Nibiru I'm being shown. So for the month of April, May, June, you're going to start noticing on the news, on certain feeds of social media, it's going to become, Nibiru is going to become a mainstream concept to be researched and understood. And that is their preparation to introduce this collective consciousness. And that's why we're actually jumping with the event. They cannot be let onto our planet to help us until we have reached that thought form, until the event has happened. Yeah.
Wow.
The event is what basically collapses that force field.
Okay.
So
What's
it's
their
really
mission?
good.
What's their mission? What the Nibiru?
I'm seeing they're in white robes. They're white and gold, and they have like a flame on their, like the circle. The white, it's like the white wizardry or something.
Are they like?
Yeah, it looks like Melchizedek order. Is that the one with the white flame or like a golden
I
circle?
think he's got like a I believe so.
Because that's what they have on their breasts.
Are they like healers or are they teachers?
They're just
or
evolved conscious beings.
Okay.
Evolved consciousness. They look like you and me. They look like beautiful humans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're wearing white robes with this this gold circle and the white flame.
Sounds very friendly. It's great.
So they're here to help collective consciousness evolve.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Did you have a question?
Angie asked, will this energy heal us in a way?
Yes, absolutely. And what time is it? Because I want to end at some point. What time is it? Because I have to wake up early. I have to teach a Reiki class tomorrow.
Can you check it? Because I don't have a available. I can't see.
What time is it, guys?
Yeah, hold on.
12:06.
Okay, I got it. Yep.
12:06.
12:06. Oh my gosh, we have like 30 people on with us still.
There's still more questions, but.
I'm just gonna answer this one and then I'm gonna
give it like
jump off, I
question
think.
two shuffle. You can't
Or
answer-
soon.
Maybe come right in. Maybe you can get back to them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
If another
Okay.
questions get cooked up. Yeah.
All right. So yes, the event is definitely going to heal us. Now, again, it depends on what your own consciousness is at to accept that level of healing. Because in 5D awareness, you're already healed because your awareness is that you are whole. And so your whole entire being is loved by you. So it's whole and healthy and complete. So again, if you want instantaneous healing or you want healing before that or exponentially after that, be meditating on your wholeness. Be meditating on your own healing. And then if your body is not up to that 5D frequency, and it's not up to 4D frequency, yes, you're still going to get healed. It might display itself in healing crises, though. Again, this whole entire event is how you are experiencing it based on your own frequencies. So it will be a wave of massive healing. We will have to experience the 3D aspects of it if that's what we're resonating at. So if you don't want to experience third dimensional physical ailments, get on the 4 and 5D, which is healthy lifestyle, healthy mental cycles, healthy sleep cycles, self-care. Get on all of that so that you can experience this exponential wave of consciousness blissfully.
And definitely embracing forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. That really enlightens your being and raises your vibration. So that
Exactly.
helps. Real quick, and then we could probably be done if you want. What will it, and I don't know if you said this already, but what will it physically look like after the event?
I'm seeing vibrant, like crystallized enhanced visuals, CRISPR, like a. It's so weird. I'm being shown it looks like the vampire site in Twilight. Yes, I know what that movie is, and I know how they saw. But yeah, it's like Edward's the vampire site in when you're a vampire in Twilight. You can see everything like in HD. Yeah, it's like really, really enhanced sight.
Right.
You're seeing the actual eyes of people will begin to heal too. Those with visual.
Poor vision will.
Vision will be restored.
All right. So what does it look like? Like as far as what does nature look like? What do like nuclear waste silos look like? Like are things getting better? Like how does the planet look overall
What do you mean after?
after the event?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a question then?
I am.
We just could go forever.
I was going to see if you could clarify. Is this a shift in humanity, or is this a shift in... This is an Earth shift. This is
The
happening on Earth.
prevailing
Everything
energies.
on Earth is experiencing this. Not just humans, but plants, animals,
Right.
pets. Everything
Yeah.
is experiencing this.
And what pets are all, and pets and children are basically our mirrors of the now moment, of the appreciation of the now moment. Because pets do not hold a grudge. And, well, that can, I guess, be arguable depending on what personality your pet has. But in general, pets are pretty present. Animals are pretty present. You don't see the drama of the human race displayed in animals because they're so present. They don't have that mind, that ego to keep them out of the present moment. Children are all life living for the present. And then as we get older, we begin to understand the concepts of past. Hold on to it. And then the future of how to worry about it. So animals and children will experience this wave relatively gracefully. Again, depending on their own frequencies, but generally they're at a higher frequency than adults are anyway. They have less baggage. So basically kids are going to be happier. They'll be part of the collective joy wave. Lots of love. Mm-hmm. Psychic abilities are going to be enhanced for everyone too, just so we know. Yes, Rachel.
Wait. I gotta remember what my question was. Sorry, go ahead. Totally lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, Matt, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions right now. Actually, I wanted to add just something real quick. I remember just hearing a few words from the woman who had channeled it. Maybe you can add to this. But she was saying how, like, if someone would cut you off, like in traffic, you wouldn't even really have, after the shift, those vibrations of anger and frustration won't even be like a thing. So it'll, I guess, kind of...
Negativity just gets knocked
this
out.
is what I was gonna ask you.
Because we're going to
Evil
be
gonna disappear?
creating more, and you can't create negative.
So just imagine
vibrations.
a world where we were literally just constantly just in a more positive output, more positive signals. I feel like is just overall going to be great. So, I mean, could you add to the experience? Or I guess you've been talking about that the whole time. So, I mean, Rachel...
Yes. Yeah, I would... Because we know we're going to go through a period of disclosure. So will we go through that after the event, where we're going to learn about what's been kept from us and
like secret space program?
Secret space program. How
Yes, but it's not even going to bother.
But
it's
that's the thing. So it's going to happen simultaneously. But does that evil that exists, does that just go away after the event, or will we still
No,
go
it's
through
still
the
going
process?
still going to get dealt with.
Like Star
Okay.
Wars.
Still going to get dealt with. It's still going to be here to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way in which we
not
deal with it is going to be the biggest difference. And a lot of us, we're going to be aware of it, and we're going to transmute it faster. That's basically what. Like, we're all going to have to experience the revelations of all that's been going on. And that's all going to be a collective weight that we have to carry and experience. And then because we've been introduced to our higher healing powers, our higher selves more so, we're able to transmute that at a collective level faster with our own awarenesses of how to heal and how powerful our thoughts are to heal that. So that's why the darkness is going to continue to be here, to be revealed, but it's more about to be healed. And it's because we're operating at a consciousness collectively of that level of healing that needs to happen. It's burning up. There's a lot of burning. A lot is going to be coming out. And what you do end up hearing is only going to be a quarter of a fraction of what's really been going on. It's like a slow insanity of revelation that's going to be happening.
Well, someone was saying how bad for the whole truth would put somebody out.
Right.
It would just shock somebody to the point.
Yeah, right. They wouldn't be able to handle it.
They wouldn't be able to handle it.
Right. So the full scope of what's really going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
nearly unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, things are going to come out that unless we were in that higher consciousness to receive it, our 3D minds just wouldn't be able to handle it. It's some pretty rough stuff, right? But we'll get through it.
We can do it,
and we'll rise above.
I think that's why all the healers are starting to come out now. We're seeing an emergence of healers across the board, whether they're doing Reiki, nurses. I mean, there's so much healing that's just emerging in the consciousness.
Farming, more natural, organic agriculture.
Connection to nature, closer to nature. Not embracing factory farming.
Right.
All that. Yep.
The shift is happening.
We're on course.
All right, guys. I'll be coming back on more, regardless of whether I want to or not. I like to just hide, but I've been getting pressed by my guides to get on, so I had to. So thanks for joining in, and I will be visiting back again to do more Q&As for everybody that has questions. I'll just announce it randomly. I like 11:11 at night. It's magical. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, everyone here. Oh, wait. Say goodbye.
Adios.
Adios. Thanks for joining us. That was fun.
Buenas noches.
Rachel.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Night.